All right, let's dive into a future that's coming way faster than you might think. A future where your bank might just know what you need before you do. We're going to break down 6 huge trends that are set to completely reshape banking by 2026, all based on a really fascinating new report from Accenture. So, let's get into it.
First things first, I want you to start with this big question. Just for a second, forget everything you think a bank is. What if it wasn't just, a vault for your cash or an app on your phone? What if it was something way more woven into the fabric of your life? That's exactly the future we're going to unpack.
Now, Accenture has a name for this whole new world, unconstrained banking. And look, this isn't just some corporate buzzword. It's a massive shift. It means the old walls between banking, tech, and our day-to-day lives, they're basically dissolving. And it's all being powered by this incredible combination of AI, digital money, and brand new platforms. This is the key idea that's going to guide us through everything else.
So, this leads us to the first major point. The old rules of banking? Yeah, you can just toss them out the window. For decades, the industry played by a certain rulebook, but that book is being completely rewritten as we speak. We're talking a total reinvention of how money and value are created, delivered, and managed. And what's the single biggest driver of all this chaos and change? It's no surprise, right? It's AI. But please, don't just think of clunky chatbots. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about AI fundamentally rewiring the very DNA of the entire banking industry. Let's see how.
The Accenture report breaks down AI's impact into 3 huge areas. First, the actual money in our accounts is about to get a whole lot smarter. Second, the way we interact with our bank is going to be completely overhauled. And third, the actual work that people do inside banks will be transformed from the ground up.
Let's start with that first one, because I absolutely love how they put it. Dumb money gets smarter. It's catchy for sure, but it points to a really profound change. Think about it. The money sitting in your account right now is pretty passive. It's really just a number on a screen. Well, that's all about to change.
And this really shows the difference. We're moving away from today's dumb money, that static number, to the smart money of tomorrow, which is programmable and intelligent. What does that mean? Well, imagine your money being smart enough to automatically pay a bill at the very last second to get you the most interest. Or, for a business, having funds that automatically move themselves around to optimize cash flow. That's the kind of power we're talking about with digital currencies like CBDCs and stablecoins.
Okay, so if our money is getting smarter, how are we going to actually interact with it? Well, this next trend is all about making banking disappear into the background of our lives. The whole idea is to bring banking to you, right when and where you need it, and in a way that feels totally natural.
So what's this actually feel like? Imagine having a personal AI financial advisor, kind of like a GPT assistant for your money that you can just talk to 24/7. But this doesn't mean your local branch is going away. No way. Its job just changes. It becomes a trust anchor, a place you go for the really big, complex conversations. And you'll probably see a lot more smaller, tech-heavy micro branches and smart booths popping up too.
Now, for the third AI trend, and this one is a real monster. It's all about productivity. The term you need to know is Agentic AI. Now, these aren't just AIs that answer questions. These are AI agents that can actually do things. They run tasks, they complete workflows. This is going to absolutely shatter the old limits of what a bank's workforce can do.
And this little equation here really says it all. We're not in a one-person, one-job world anymore. We're moving to a one-person plus a whole team of AI agents model. The result? A single employee could have the output of what an entire team produces today. The potential here is just astronomical. It's a total game changer.
Now, this AI-powered future sounds pretty incredible, right? But here's the catch. It is not as simple as just buying some new software. To make any of this a reality, banks have to do some serious, heavy-duty work. We're talking about a massive effort to rebuild their core systems from the ground up.
And this chart shows you exactly why this is so urgent. Accenture calls it the high cost of low cost. See, for years, banks have just been putting Band-Aids on their old, creaky systems. And the result, just look at how that tech spending bar is growing way faster than the revenue bar. That is completely unsustainable. Modernizing is no longer a choice, it's a matter of survival.
Another piece of the core that needs a total overhaul is how banks handle risk and compliance. I mean, in a future with instant transactions and complex AI making decisions, the old-school reactive way of managing risk is basically useless.
Banks have to move to a model where they can see the whole picture all the time, in real time.
So, this means getting away from risk being this siloed department that swoops in after the fact. Instead, risk management has to be baked into everything the bank does, running continuously in the background. And here's the really cool part. When a bank gets this right, risk stops being a cost center and actually becomes a real competitive advantage. So you take all these changes, the new tech, the new mindset around risk, the AI revolution, and what do you get? You get a completely new competitive battlefield. And this is where it all comes together.
For centuries, banks were protected by these huge moats, right? Things like their massive balance sheets and their network of branches on every corner. Well, those moats are drying up fast. You've got all these new, nimble players jumping in, and customers, you and me, are way more willing to give them a shot.
So how do banks survive and win now? The answer is to stop thinking like a product factory and start acting like an ecosystem orchestrator. What on earth does that mean? Well, instead of just trying to sell you a mortgage, the bank of the future helps you with the entire home buying journey. It connects you to realtors, inspectors, movers. It becomes a central hub for the big events in your life, with its own products just being one seamless part of the puzzle.
Wow, okay. We've gone from smart money to AI agents to banks orchestrating our lives. That is a lot. So let's boil it all down into the key things you really need to remember as we head toward 2026.
To succeed in this new era, it really comes down to 4 critical moves. First, banks have to modernize everything, their tech and their talent, around AI. Second, they have to completely redefine how they handle risk and regulation. Third, they must reinvent the customer experience to be incredibly personal and deeply integrated. And finally, the big one, reshape their whole business model to become an ecosystem orchestrator. These aren't just suggestions, they're the new rules for survival. And all of this brings us right back to you. Because as all those traditional barriers in banking come crashing down, the power shifts. It shifts to the customer. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. In this new, unconstrained world, what will you demand from your bank? What will it really take for them to earn your business and your trust?